Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and welcome to another in-between story match. And as I promised, I was going to do Kratos against a worthy opponent here, and who other than the god or the dragon of the skies, Rayquaza. So without further ado, you guys should know the rules. I do not allow BFR in my versus battles, and we'll be looking at Kratos from game 1 all the way to current. And as for Rayquaza, we'll be using manga and anime. So let's begin. Now, Kratos himself has defeated plenty of beings, from primordials to actual gods who scale above the primordials, and the Titans would be in between this power level as well. Some of the Titans he's killed have actually been concepts as well, like for example, Morpheus is actually the concept of dream and mind, with Thanatos being the literal concept of death itself. Now, how strong are these primordial beings? By the way, this will also give a good scale for Zertur and Ymir, as I do believe, considering they are confirmed to be primordials, they would have participated in the battle that created the universe. Now, this is important here because characters like Uranos and the rest of the Titans, sorry, not Titans, the rest of these primordials would scale below the Titans, as Uranos himself, the father of the Titans, or at least the father of the primordials, was able to stop chaos itself and was able to pretty much save every other pantheon before it even existed, in a way. So these pantheons actually contain infinite layered hierarchies. And when Odin, a younger Odin, and his brothers killed Ymir, they flooded all of creation, meaning all these hierarchies, all these universes were actually flooded. So a flood that was so powerful and so dangerous that it was able to almost destroy existence itself, pretty much just drown it entirely, right? So you have Kratos that would scale above a younger Odin, and he would also scale above the Titans, who were able to fight and kill the primordials. And you again have the gods, like the gods of Olympus and even the Norse gods, you could say as well, which would scale above that, all right? In terms of actual physical strength, Kratos is strong enough and durable enough to take attacks from Atlas, who is the Titan that bears the entirety of the world on his shoulders. This includes Mount Olympus and all these infinite layered hierarchies. So you could say Kratos has not only infinite strength, but also infinite, durability, stamina, so on and so forth. And he's actually been able to push the fingers of Atlas and has even received some of his strength as well. Now, it is, sorry about the voice crack, it is debatable whether he still kept it after the sheer fact that when he destroyed Olympus, he lost a lot of his magical abilities. However, he still maintained the Blades of Chaos, which are his power and his abilities. And we'll get into that a little bit when we cover weapons here. Now, in terms of speed as well, Kratos would have infinite speed, as he's been able to fight and defeat time manipulators and is actually been able to move through time quite easily. He's also been able to catch up to characters like Hermes, who have been able to cross Tartarus and is faster than Helios's light. As a matter of fact, Kratos has reacted to Helios's light as well, which has been able to cover all of Olympus. So again, you could argue infinite speed, or infinite to inaccessible or immeasurable speeds. Now, in terms of his durability, Kratos would also be up there in terms of, well, okay, so he would have universal durability, okay, is what I'm really trying to say here, as he has been able to take attacks from gods that not only scale above the Titans, but gods that have been able to crack and splinter the world tree. You could even say he's more durable than the World Serpent and Thor, honestly, considering the fact that Thor and the World Serpent hit each other so hard that it cracked the world tree and sent the serpent back in time. All right, the World Serpent will also play into the weapons part later as well. And the World Serpent is also one of the stronger giants in the Pantheon, or at least in the God of War Pantheon, which would make him, well, basically the strongest giant of all time, considering the fact that he's been able to go toe-to-toe with Thor, who really has only feared one giant, but then he still killed it regardless. So yeah, the World Serpent is definitely one of the strongest giants in the Pantheon, and Kratos would easily scale to or scale above this, considering he's not only taken hits from Mjolnir, but a Thor, and was able to clash with it with the Leviathan axe. Okay. And, well, honestly, I think that kind of covers most of Kratos, so let's go into his hacks and abilities. Kratos possesses immortality to the point where he cannot die by his own hands. He can't even kill himself, as he'll simply just come back to life. Now, you might say, oh, well, maybe it's because he has the soul of Hades. Again, we don't really know if that was taken away from him, because the soul of Hades does contribute to some of his immortality. However, we'll say for the sake of this that his soul still remains within Kratos, as well. It did say it got rid of all of its magic, but probably not probably not most of the stuff he's been granted already. So I would still say he has the strength of Atlas, the Titan, and probably still has Hades' soul. But anyway, let's really just go back to that here. He's immortal and can only be killed by beings that are just as strong as him. This was actually demonstrated by Thor, and I believe Freya as well, when she was pretty much almost able to kill him a couple of times as well. So in all honesty, Kratos can die, but it's not by like, he can't. I don't think he can really die by like natural means. Kratos has to be killed by someone stronger than him, or when he's unwilling to die. It honestly just it's weird. It's weird, but Kratos does have immortality. He also has regeneration. He can regenerate from life-threatening wounds, such as Atreus shooting him with a shoulder and paralyzing him with his dragon magic as well. He's also been, stabbed through the chest with the blade of Olympus after being mortal, and simply climbed out of Tartarus like it was nothing. He's healed from basically every kind of wound you could pretty much imagine. Probably minus decapitation, but again, you getting stabbed through your chest, having a pillar thrown through your entire body. Yeah, I don't think decapitation's really going to matter if you can just come back and just crawl out the pits of Tartarus. But let's go into his weapons here. He has the Leviathan axe, which is stated to be equal to Mjolnir, the same Mjolnir that cracked the World Tree, and it's imbued with the Serpent's Venom, allowing him to bypass regeneration and bypass durability in general. It also contains ice magic, and this allows Kratos to use AoEs and freezing agents on his opponents. He has his Blades of Chaos, which allow him to pretty much extend and grapple and pull in his opponents, kind of like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. He also has the ability to cast Magical Fire, which is able to burn his opponents completely. He's also able to use the Draupnir Spear, an infinitely replenishing spear that can overwhelm his opponent's senses and can detonate. So he can make 1,000 of these things and they could all explode. Yeah, I know, crazy. Just crazy, ain't it? So anyway, where would I tier Kratos? I would say he'd be in the middle ground for Universal. Remember how you guys have to remember how I tier Universal characters. I have them, at the base level. Then there's the mid tier, like the Skyfather domain. And then there's the high tier, which is like cosmic entities. So Kratos would definitely get the mid tier or the Skyfather tier of Universal abilities. But let's move on to his opponent, Rayquaza. Rayquaza is known as the Pokemon that can actually tear apart the skies themselves, meaning he could destroy reality. Now, Rayquaza has a bunch of scaling where he scales above, a lot of base level Pokemon. It's Pokemon that have species, or some of these Pokemon are actually concepts. For example, Cresselia and Darkrai are the concepts of both Good Dreams and Nightmares, respectively, and Rayquaza would easily scale above them. He would also scale above regular Pokemon very easily, as he's pretty much swatted them away like flies, and Pokemon that are weaker than him, like Lugia, have been able to swat away pseudo-legendaries and Pokemon that can even compete with pseudo-legendaries very simply and very easily as well. But let's move on to Rayquaza's feats here. He's been able to literally manhandle and slam the likes of Kyurem, who is noted to be the strongest dragon type on the planet. This is important because dragon type Pokemon are regarded as some of the strongest Pokemon of all time, and Rayquaza easily overpowered a white Kyurem. He was also able to fight and stalemate the likes of Giratina in his avatar form. And what's important about this here is Giratina in his avatar state is able to manhandle Regigigas, Dialga, Palkia, Cresselia, and Darkrai, all at the same time. And the Lake Trio. Almost forgot about them. I'm sorry, my little ones. So he's able to manhandle all of these beings at the same time, and yet Rayquaza is able to not only go toe-to-toe with him, but stalemate him. All right? He's even able to use Twister, which is an ability that pretty much allows for him to use the Cloud Currents and uses Storm Manipulation to his fullest, and is able to use it as a pretty much a Tornado Shield, which was taking attacks from Dialga, Palkia, Groudon, Kyogre, and Kyurem, as well as the Creation Trio and Hopa, all at the same time, and they couldn't get through it. Rayquaza is also incredibly durable, being able to take attacks down to the astral level, and with attacks such as the Shadow Force, which is basically an ability that bypasses the opponent's durability and allowing any attack to pass through, he was still able to tank that just fine, and he wasn't even erased from existence. As you guys should know, during the Darkrai movie, Dialga and Palkia literally erased Darkrai from existence, and it took Palkia reversing everything he did in order for Darkrai to come back. And yet Rayquaza was taking attacks from that same Palkia and that same Dialga that did that. So in all honesty, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. He was also able to harm Hopa, who not only took attacks from Lugia, and Lugia was actually doing damage, by the way, but was pretty much unfazed by a combination of Groudon, Kyogre, and Groudon. No, not I said the wrong Pokemon. Dagnabbit, Zekrom, Reshiram, and Regigigas all at the same time. So Rayquaza is easily one of the strongest and most durable Pokemon of all time. Now, let's go into his speed. Rayquaza will casually be many times faster than light to immeasurable, as he is blitzing beings that possess omnipresent speed, or pretty much just, they're omnipresent themselves. He's been able to blitz literally the singularities and the foundations of his multiverse, such as Giratina, Dialga, and Palkia, and he's casually been able to blitz them like it's nothing, even being able to blitz Pokemon such as Mega Charizard X, who's able to fight against, both Mega Charizard and Mega Metagross, respectively, who are able to fight against the likes of 50% Zygarde, who is equal to Xerneas, and is able to fight on par with characters like Ultra Necromaza, who would be beyond the likes of Solgaleo and Lunala, as well as Tapu Koko, who have infinite to inaccessible speeds to the point where they could cross dimensions by simply just moving. So, these Pokemon all have infinite speed, immeasurable speed as well. And Rayquaza is much faster than that. This will put Rayquaza in the inaccessible to immeasurable levels of speed. Now, let's cover his abilities or hacks, right? Rayquaza possesses pretty much every standard dragon type move. He has Outrage, which is an ability that can increase his strength and his durability, as well as his endurance. He has infinite speed. Infinite stamina, infinite endurance, as he doesn't get tired. He has Hyper Beam, which is a move that actually is normally a one-shot move for even regular Pokemon. However, Rayquaza also doesn't have the downsides of lack of stamina, as he was able to spam Hyper Beam multiple times during his fight with Groudon and Kyogre, as well as being able to use it in his fight to one-shot Kyurem. All right. He possesses Dragon Ascent, which is a move that already increases his insane levels of speed. Draco Meteor, which is an omnidirectional attack. And if you count the things like the games as well, he possesses the ability to use Hurricane, which is a wind move that traps his opponents. He's able to use Twister, which again could, I already described it earlier. It's a defensive move, which is actually pretty impressive. And the only way you can really do it is if you aim like multiple attacks at him in unison with other Pokemon, which is something I'll cover a bit later. He also possesses things like Ice Beam, which is a very interesting move here, which actually freezes the opponent. And he's actually been able to use his Hyper Beam to incinerate opponents as well. So, with all that being said here, I think it's fair to say that Rayquaza himself is very much well beyond the normal standards of Pokemon when it comes to the power level. I would actually say he's on par with the Creation Trio's avatars. If not, he could probably beat them. So I think it's safe to say here that Rayquaza will easily scale to possibly the cosmic tier of Universal, But for the sake of this, we'll say he scales to the mid tier, probably a bit higher though. Now, without further ado, let's begin this matchup here. I hope you guys actually enjoyed this. I kind of came up with this on the fly because, as you guys know, I like to space out my story videos between, have a video between my story videos and stuff. So I really just hope you guys enjoy this little matchup here. Now, Kratos himself easily has some like benefits in this fight here. I would actually say he has many defensive means and definitely a good ways to get around Rayquaza, such as his weapons and abilities. He can use the Draupnir Spear definitely to hit Rayquaza, as Kratos has dealt with beings that have infinite to inaccessible speeds here. While yes, Rayquaza is faster, I definitely think Kratos does have the combat speed to react and the output in AP to pretty much hurt Rayquaza during this fight here. Now, Rayquaza does outstat Kratos as he does scale a bit higher. However, I do think Kratos' weapons actually give him a distinct edge, and as being in all honesty, he probably could get past a lot of Rayquaza's moves here. For example, Twister, I think he could just make it rain fire, or maybe even use multiple the Draupnir Spear Rain attack to pretty much rain it on Rayquaza and then detonate every single one of them on it, and he would be able to pretty much just get past, what am I trying to say here? Pretty much get past Rayquaza's defenses. I also think the Leviathan Axe would definitely be a good counter for Ice Beam. I think Kratos' regeneration definitely keeps him in a fight for a good bit here. However, I just think Rayquaza does end up overwhelming him. Killing him? Probably not. I don't think Rayquaza would probably kill Kratos, especially if we argue an in-character scenario. However, a morals off or blood-lusted take on these two, and yeah, I think that it's going to be it's going to be definitely a high diff fight, as I think Kratos is definitely smarter and definitely more agile enough to get, the upper hand on Rayquaza good times, maybe even knock him down. However, just for the scaling of, the Pokemon against some of the characters in God of War, like Giratina would be able to beat Zeus and probably the entirety of the pantheons as well, both Greek and, Norse pantheons respectively. However, I could actually see Kratos beating a lot of the conceptual legendary Pokemon as well, such as Yveltal, Xerneas, and maybe even Ultra Necromaza. But at the end of the day here, I just favor Rayquaza just a bit more. He's got the speed advantage. He's definitely got more versatility. And he just has a much higher power output than Kratos. But let me know what you guys think down below. I think he takes it high diff. But let me know what you guys think. Please comment down below. Like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.